Good morning, Morai V'Rabotai, and Bruchim Abayim to a Shushan Purim Shir on Avodah Zarah. We are continuing on the bottom of the Samech Gimel Amud Bet, about 6 lines up from the bottom of the Amud. Today's Amud is being learned. L'schud refuah shelema of Rachel Simcha bat Nahid. That should have a full refuah shelema recovery. Amen. The Gemara is going to go through a series of 3 fantastic quandaries of things that when you hear, you say, oh gee, this is really interesting actually. For instance, the first one says the Gemara, Yativ Rab Nachman ve'ulam. Rab Nachman and Ulam and Abimi bar Papa were sitting. The Yativ Rav Chia bar Ami Gabayhu, Rav Chia bar Ami was sitting with them in the Bet Midrash, and they had the following question. They had the following question. We spoke a lot about the prohibition against using Yain Nesech. Right, that we all know. Yain Nesech, not only you cannot use it, not only you cannot drink it, rather, but you can't even draw any benefit from it. How about if I am hired to go break, literally destroy Yain Nesech? Somebody has to destroy them. So you can't always find someone for free. How about if I am hired to go break the barrels and destroy Yain Nesech and trash them? Now I'm getting paid. So I'm making money today from Yain Nesech, essentially. Now it happens to be that I am not drinking it, I'm not even keeping it, I'm destroying. But at the end of the day, I'm destroying Yain Nesech and getting paid from working with Yain Nesech. Mali, what's the difference if I am getting schar, getting payment from moving the barrels of Yain Nesech from here to here, or, which is asur, we already discussed that, or I'm getting paid to just literally take a hammer and become Avraham Avinu and smash the barrels. Who cares what I'm doing with the Yain Nesech? At the end of the day, I'm coming home with $1,000 worth of money, that's after the inflation, of working with Yain Nesech. So, is that mutar or asur? What do you say? Says the Gemara, the sides of the question in a halachic way to be explained is as follows. When you have something that's asur b'hana'ah and you want it to still be there. We learned this from Hilchot Pesach, and we learned that the same applies to Avodah Zarah, to Avodah Zarah and to Yain Nesech as well. Chametz is asur b'hana'ah in that way as well. So I want this Avodah Zarah, this Yain Nesech, to be there until the end of today. You have this 1,000 barrels of wine, and if miraculously all of them would just pop and they would break and Yain Nesech would go off, I would be out of job, right? So I, in a very strange way, want the Yain Nesech to be there until I will be the one to break them and get rid of them because I get paid for it. And that is a concept in halacha we call rotzeh b'kiyumo. I want it to be there. I want it to be there. This, by the way, becomes a question for those people who own, for instance, chain of stores. Imagine if you own a chain of stores of 7-Eleven, and you have to have, by the franchise, requires you to have certain items. Now, you're an owner, you're a Jew, you're a Frum Yid, and on Pesach, and no way you're going to sell chametz or own chametz, so you're going to sell it to somebody else. But the store is going to be still selling it. So now, monetarily, you got rid of the chametz. You don't own it anymore. So whatever happens with it, happens with it. But Do you want that chametz, that item, to be in your 7-Eleven? 100%, no kidding. Because you lose your franchise if you don't have that. You must carry that brand of that chametz because you are a franchise of 7-Eleven or whatever else it is. And that is called rotzeh b'kiyumo. It becomes a real serious halachic question. Right? Or people who own, for instance, nursing homes. Right? Some Jews own nursing homes. And when you have that, you have the same question. So you got rid of your chametz that you own on Pesach. Now you gave the ownership somehow halachically to somebody else, but you want that thing to be there in some cases. And if it is the case like that, then you have a question. I'm not saying it's impossible to get around it, but a regular sale of chametz would certainly not do, because your rotzeh b'kiyumo, you want it to be there. And rotzeh b'kiyumo is considered hana'ah in some sense in that way as well. So says Gemara, is that asur because of rotzeh b'kiyumo? Because you want it to be there until you break the barrels of wine yourself, then it should be asur. Or maybe in this case it's a little different. You have an overriding factor here, and that is lema'ut tifla. It would be mutar, because you are, at the end of the day, somebody has to get rid of it. And the more you could destroy Avodah Zarah, the more you could take away yain nesech, the better. So maybe that would override this whole rotzeh b'kiyumo thing. So what's the halacha? This is a fantastic question. So says the Gemara, no problem. Amar Rab Nachman said, Yishvor v'tavo alav bracha. Let him break them, and he should be gesund. Tavo alav bracha, he will be blessed. So the Gemara says, wait a second. Let's examine this, halachically speaking. Lema mesayeh aleh, the last line. Ein odrin im obed kochavim bekilayim. If you have kilayim, kilayim also is asur to do, right? You can't have kilayim in your field. Now, how about helping out with a goy in a kilayim field? Can you do adira? Idur means you are pruning, you are making a little small ditch around the plant to make the watering system better and more efficient. You can't do any of those things that enhance the quality of the plants that you have in kilayim. Cannot do that on a field that is planted mixed, which is considered isur kiyam. But says the Braitam, aval okrinimo. But you could uproot the kilayim field. You could do that and destroy the kilayim, even though that you are paid to do so. In other words, kilayim is also asur bahana. You cannot benefit anything from kilayim. And yet, the Gemara is saying, the Braita is saying, you could get paid in order to destroy the kilayim from this field. Somebody says, oh, you have this kilayim over here. Here, I hire you kach v'kach dollars an hour. Go take all the kilayim out. Can you do that? Well, you're rotzeh b'kiyumo for sure, because if all of a sudden a lightning bolt would hit the field and everything would burn, you would be out of job. You don't want that to happen. You want to be the one to uproot them yourself to get paid. So you're rotzeh b'kiyuman, and still the Braita seems to say it's mutar. So from here, the Gemara wants to prove, like the din of Rab Nachman, that you could do it because you're destroying the Nesech, you're destroying Avodah Zarah. That would be mutar, even though that's rotzeh b'kiyuman. That's what the Gemara wants to suggest. Now the Gemara says, well, maybe this is also according to Rabbi Akiva. Because in order for this to be a similarity with Yain Nesech, you have to say it's Rabbi Akiva. The Amar HaMekayem Bekilayim Loke. That even staying in the same status quo in a Kilayim field, that means I did not plant the Kilayim. The Pasuk says, what's the Pasuk? Can someone help me here? Sadcha lo tizra kilayim. Don't plant your field kilayim. So I would say, if I'm not planting my field kilayim, the kilayim is there already. Somehow it came about. Can I just keep the kilayim in my field? I would say, well, it should be fine, right? That's what I would say. Rabbi Akiva has a very creative way of reading the pasuk, as we're going to discuss in just a moment, that says, no, not only it's asur to plant your field kilayim, but Rabbi Akiva is of the opinion, disagrees with Chachamim, that not only that, but even if you have kilayim in your field, it is asur to keep it, and you have to uproot everything right away. Every moment of status quo is a isur. How does he learn it? Let's take a look at the Gemara. The Tanya, third line. If you enhance the kilayim field, you get lashes. Hamenakesh means you go take the thorns out, take the weeds out, take the things that stop the growth of this plant, you take them out. Mechape is you put dirt on the roots. You're enhancing the quality of life for the kilayim. You're not planting it, but that's considered planting it also. Says the Gemara, Rabbi Akiva Omer, Af HaMekayem. Not only that, but even if you do something that enhances the just existence, pure existence of the thing, not doing anything to enhance the quality of it, but you are making a fence around it, making sure nobody touches it. That also, says Rabbi Akiva, is asur, hamekayem. My time on Rabbi Akiva. How does Rabbi Akiva know this from the pasuk? The pasuk says, "Sadecha lo tizra kilayim." Don't plant your field kilayim. Don't plant the mixed seeds in your field. So how do you know that mekayem is asur? Merely keeping them is a problem. Amar kara, because the pasuk says, "Sadecha lo tizra kilayim." En li ela zorea mekayem minayin. We only see in the pasuk, don't plant kilayim. How do I know mekayem? Talmud Omar, lo kilayim. Right? Lo kilayim. In other words, I'm going to read you the whole pasuk and tell you how he's surgically reading this. The whole pasuk reads like this: Et chukotai tishmoru. Be'emtecha is talking about, in the beginning of the pasuk, about kilayim of behemah. That means you cannot mix and match the animals and have a crossbreed of the different types of species of animals. Be'emtecha lo tarbiya kilayim. Don't do kila'e behemah. Then sadecha lo tizra kilayim. That's the second part of the pasuk. Don't plant your field kilayim. And at the end it says, ubeket kilayim shatnez lo yale alecha. And your garment cannot be kilayim also, hence we go to the shatnez lab, right, to make sure that there is no shatnez of semer upishtim yahdav in our garments. So 3 types of kilayim we have. All of them are mentioned in one pasuk. Now, I'm just reading 3 words from the pasuk, putting the last word of the first case together with the 2 first words of the second case. So it says, Be'emtecha lo tarbiya kilayim. I'm just going to keep the kilayim, the last word. Kilayim sadecha lo. You cannot have any kilayim in your sadeh. I don't care if you are planting it. Rebecca says, well, you think this is haphazard, that the pasuk puts the words, juxtaposes the words like this? It's not haphazard. It's meant to be also read, kilayim sadcha lo. You cannot have any kilayim in your field. And that's the shita of Rabbi Akiva. Chachamim disagree. So that's Rabbi Akiva holding that not only you cannot plant kilayim, but if you have kilayim, if somebody else came and or it grew by itself, you have to go there and take it out. Now, if you hold like Rabbi Akiva, it becomes a whole question. Can I get hired to go uproot it? Because every second that it is there, I want it to be there. Because I want me to be the one to get to it and uproot it and get paid. So that would be rotzeh bekiyumo. Same exact question as our Yain Nesach question, right? Anybody with me? Oh, good. So it says the Gemara, Ve'ilu lema'uteh tifla, shari. If you see, even though that would be asur, because I am rotzeh b'kiyuma, I want the kilayim to be there, still is mutar because I'm destroying kilayim. So you see, the concept of getting rid of isur overrides this isur of rotzeh b'kiyumo. This issue of I want it to be stay there. It's an override. So says the Gemara. Lo. Hamani Rabbanan. It says, who told you to assume that this Braita is Rabbi Akiva? Yes, if you assume that this Braita is Rabbi Akiva, then you have a good raya for Rab Nachman who says you could go break and get money breaking barrels of Yain Nesach. But if this Braita is not Rabbi Akiva, it's Rabbanan. We just said Rabbanan disagree. According to Rabbanan, can I leave the Kilayim be there? Chazak Baruch, you could go to sleep, you could go on a trip, you could just leave it be there. And then, do you have a raya for Rab Nachman? Absolutely not. So who told you that this is Rabbi Akiva? It doesn't say that's Rabbi Akiva. The Gemara says, well, you're correct, but there's a problem. If it's Rabbanan, why do you have to tell me that it's mutar for me to go work with the goy to take the kilayim out? They should say even better, it's mutar for me to go sip some beer and just let it be mekayem. According to Rabbanan, remember, if I didn't do this zri'ah, is it mutar for me to keep it? Absolutely yes. So what would be the chidush, the best chidush for the Braita to teach me? Leave it be, and it's mutar. You could be mekayem. That should have been the chidush of Chachamim. If it's not according to if it's according to Rabbi Akiva, I understand why he has to tell me it's mutar, because he exactly is coming to teach you this very chidush of Rab Nachman, that there's an override, that even though that's asur to keep the kilayim in my field, I still could get paid, even though that I'm rotzeh b'kiyumo, in order to be mema'et tifla, in order to take ugliness out of Eretz Yisrael. That would be. But if you tell me it's chachamim, what do you mean you could go work with the goy to take it out? I could even leave it there. That should be the chidush, right? So says the Gemara like this. Gemara says this is a segue to a fantastic halachic question, right? When you get an Uber ride, can you tip them? Right? Look at the blank look on everyone's face. I love it. Right? So, what's the question you're saying? Right? What's the question? The question is like this. The question is this Gemara over here. Says the Gemara, that's not the case. It is Chachamim. It is Chachamim. And you know what the problem is? Why doesn't it tell me just leave the kilayim in your sadeh, which would be the best chidush? Because it's coming to teach you another chidush, according to Chachamim. Says the Gemara, De'ich Rabbanan ma'irya okrin. Why do you have to say that it's mutar to uproot the kilayim with the goy, helping the goy? Afilu kiyumenami shapir dami. Even according to Chachamim, even keeping the kilayim in your field would be mutar. Says the Gemara, no. The chidush is as follows. Hacha b'may askinan. You know what the case is. Kegon deka avid bechinam. You are working for free for this goy. You're working for free. You're not charging him, and you are uprooting together with him, helping his project, uprooting the kilayim. Rabbi Yehudai, and this is according to Rabbi Yehuda. You remember about 40 blocks ago in Daf Chaf, we had a whole drasha. Rabbi Yehuda holds the Amar litel lahem matenat chinam asur. Rabbi Yehuda holds that giving matenat chinam, giving free gifts to an oved kochavim, to an idol worshipper, would be asur. So says the Gemara, that's the chidush, that even though that generally speaking would be asur to give a free work, a free lift, a free something to a goy, to a oved avodah zarah rather, it would be also over here Asur, Kamash Malan, the Braita is coming to teach you, no, here is mutar. Why? Because you're uprooting kilayim from Eretz Yisrael. Right? This, lema'ut tifla, overrides. So therefore, go back to paper trail. Is our Braita a raya for Rab Nachman? Says Gemara, no, because it's not Rabbi Akiva, it's Chachamim. You have a side question, what's the chidush according to Chachamim? I have the answer. The chidush according to Chachamim is that you could do it even though that you're working for free for the goy. Right? But it's not Rabbi Akiva. The Gemara yells at this. The Gemara says, wait a second. At the end of the day, you're telling me that according to Rabbi Yehuda, is asur to give free gift to Oved Kochavim, and because of Lema'ut Tifla, it becomes mutar, right? At the end of the day, you're saying that there's something that's asur, and because you want to get rid of isur, in this case being kilai min Yisrael, it would be overriding the isur of matanat chilam to Oved Kochavim, right? So it's the same thing. From Rabbi Yehuda, you should learn to Rabbi Akiva as well. That if you have a isur of kiyum of kilayim, who cares what the isur is? Whether the isur is that you can't help the Oved Kochavim for free, or the isur is being mekayem kilayim in your sadah, according to Rabbi Akiva, the other thing should trump that. The ratzon of Chachamim, that the isur of kilayim should be eradicated, should trump that, and therefore you should be able to do it with him in order to be mema'et tifla, in order to uproot negativity. And that brings us, of course, back to Rab Nachman's psak. Hence, we see a raya for Rab Nachman that even though that yayin nesech that you were hired to break, to destroy, you want it to be there, you rotzeh bekiyumo, still would be mutar, because you are eradicating negativity of destroying the elements of Avodah Zarah, which is yayin nesech is an element of Avodah Zarah, and hence it should be mutar. So that's what the Gemara says. Midivre Rabbi Yehuda nishmal Rabbi Akiva. Lava Rabbi Yehuda. Didn't Rabbi Yehuda say asur litel lahem matanat chilam, that you can't give matanat chilam to Oved Kochavim? Aval lema'otet tifla shapir dami. But still you could do it lema'otet tifla to get rid of negativity. Rabbi Akiva nami, according to Rabbi Akiva, also should be afal gav dam Rabbi Akiva, even though Rabbi Akiva holds hamikayem bekilayim lokem, that if you are mekayem kilayim, that if you just merely keep kilayim in your field, you will get lashes, you get malkud, lema'otet tifla, shapir dami. In order to eradicate that, even though that you are rotzeh bekiyumo, you want it to be there until you're the one that plucks it off, still will be mutar, but to lomidi, that's the end of the discussion, says the Gemara. Don't ask any more questions. That's the halacha, which would bring us to the halacha of Rab Nachman, yishpor v'tavo alav bracha. Let this guy break the barrels, v'tavo alav bracha, will be blessed. That's the answer of the first quandary of the Gemara. Tomorrow we will be discussing another fantastic question of the Gemara in the same setting, Be'ezrat Hashem, together. Chazak u'baruch.